Hello and welcome to Eberron. Return to Eberron, in fact. Cult of the Godseed. My name is DM Matt in a Hat, and I will be your game master for today. I have with me several friends from overseas who are playing today in Eberron. We have their characters, Lana, Don, Silas, Felice, and Bastian, and they are in the middle of, well, at the end of a sewer lair. The sewer lair of the Sewer Serpents, a UNT gang who have made themselves at home in the sewers of Stormreach and Zendrick in Eberron. And we have decided to raid those sewers and try to rid Stormreach of these UNT. We are currently disguised as UNT, having had a special spell scroll that enabled us to disguise ourselves, so they do not suspect that they're being attacked or otherwise reasoned with, or that we are anything other than what we seem. So that is where we will start back up. I'll get everyone to introduce themselves real quick, and we'll get straight into the action with some stuff in the background that's going on at the same time. So let's do... Who are we going to do first today? Let's do Felice, Silas, Lana, Don, Bastian. Go ahead, guys.
Alrighty, so yeah, I'm Chris Johnson and I am playing Felice. And yeah, let's do this thing.
Short and sweet. Alright, and Silas. Who needs to reload? There we go.
There we go. So yeah, I'm Corey, and I'm playing Silas Phoenix. And I just hope I don't... I'm not
Incinerated. Well, it's not likely to be that you're incinerated here in the sewers, but we will find out. There is something odd going on inside of you, so yes, we'll see what that does. Lana and Don?
Hey, I'm Marcus playing Lana May, and she feels very
I will be playing the role of Dawn, a wise half-orc druid who is not a master of an elements, but partner and servant to such.
Very good. And finally, Bastian.
I'm Bones, playing Bastion, a clockwork warforged cleric who has led the party into the sewers, along with several guards and thugs, to raid the UNT and kick them out of our city.
Indeed. So, just to give you another snapshot of exactly where you are and what's happening, there is a fairly significant UNT behind us with snakes going everywhere. There is also a similar version of that to our south, but of keynote, the leader of this UNT gang is this character here, who has many heads and who is situated on this platform of stone serpents that seems to be surrounding the platform. And yeah, you can see that quite clearly. For Silas, you're still feeling kind of uncomfortable. I messaged you over the fortnight that we've had as a break to let you know in person, as a player, how Silas might get rid of this uncomfortableness that he's feeling. So whether Silas figures that out or not, I don't know. We'll figure that out today. And for Lana, something that you don't know or don't yet know, you hear a voice in your head, Lana, at this point. You've made yourself through this sewer. It's been actually pretty clean for a sewer. And you did have a fight, and you have managed to disguise yourselves, and you've managed to come down here, relatively unscathed. But you do hear a voice. And it says, it took me some time to purify my tomb. But once I had done so, I realized there was something about you or around you, connected with you. And I decided to shed the husk that was containing my spirit. And I have followed you here. It's taken me some time to catch up with you. I don't sense that you're the thing I'm thinking, but something connected to you is, and that can help me. I see that you're in an interesting situation, and I watched as you made your way through this place. And he says that creature is holding, that is the glaive of the darkest depths. I created that glaive, and I want it back. However, I've overheard your discussions with your group, and I've heard that there's perhaps a more important cause than my own. And I believe that I'm the key to you finding the rest of these artifacts. I can help you, Lana, if you will help me. You recognize the voice as Isdelth, the undead giant who was in the Honeycomb Caverns. Only you can hear his voice at the moment. And you have a sense, like a creeping across your skin, that his spirit or ghost is next to you, around.
Your scales stand up on me. Alright. Lorna, for anyone who's paying attention, just is unusually still. Like, there's, especially for being in new skin and whatnot, it's like, just for curiosity, like, okay, this is how I work, this is how I move, and free. And just kind of this cool blank look or alarmed look, if as alarmed as a Yuanti could look. But she's certainly just still and eyes are wide, and I feel like she would have uttered at some point, like, Christ, we've been watched. He knows we're not going to give him the blame. But he also sounds okay with it. This takes us.
Just go with it then. at him?
And yeah, she's just kind of in this. I'm processing. This is weird. He's in my head. What the hell? And she'll also do a look around, just like can if she can see him, but if she can't, that's fine. Um,
No, you can't see him. No one else can either, and no one else can hear him right now.
yeah. Um, and I think long then just wrap it up with just like I guess we could talk about this when we get out, but ugh.
You okay? You gonna be able to deal with that?
I I don't really think I have much of a choice in this matter.
Not.
He's in my head. How?
Sorry, that's gotta be weird.
Wait,
Yeah. So Silas is asking me, or asking us, about how often he's receiving damage, and this is like, so we got here like only a minute or so ago. A minute has sort of passed. Just to you've adjusted yourselves. You're taking in the scene. Lana's hearing these voices. You're like, what's happening?
losing it.
As far as the damage that you're taking, Silas, I want it to seem regular, but I also don't want to just kill you. So when we either start the encounter, whether we're attacking or reasoning, I will start to tick that again. At the moment, this is like a scenic pause. Like we're sort of seeing, we're sort of hearing this voice talking into Lana's head, as far as the audience anyway. And Lana's like telling us the party that this is happening, and she's like, he doesn't seem to be upset. He's like maybe wanting to help us. Um, Sounds like not Mineth. Sounds like Felice is on board with him helping us at this stage. No one else has really weighed in yet. Obviously, you're far enough away from these creatures that they can't overhear you at a whisper. But the longer that you're here, the more unusual it is that you're just standing here in a big group talking to each other rather than like progressing or going back. Sorry, what was that?
How much traffic is traveling around where
The only creatures are, they're not really moving. They're more like they're breathing and moving around their areas. But it seems like you know where this Marilith is here. That whole chamber is his or her chamber. He's moving around it, right? Like just around it. So little movement. And the same thing with the one to the south. That's his or her chamber. They're moving around it.
Yeah, just milling about.
So Bastion speaks up and he says, Lana, these communications are normally two-way. You can tell him to shut up, and if he means well, he'll do so. But we need to focus. You see that one with all the heads? I'm gonna hit it with my hammer.
I think that's a
And then
terrible
yeah,
idea.
there's this moment of like Lana going, I can't, and she will like say it loudly, shut up. And then when you mention the many heads, it's like, oh yeah. Then she gets quiet as she realizes she's kind of talking a little too loud.
So you think fighting that creature behind us is the correct manner of this? When there's these other two creatures and every other Yuan-Ti in here, we have a beautiful disguise that can make it so we can do this much more amicably. Right?
Look, I don't know much beyond cut off the snake's head and the others will flee. If we can do enough damage quickly enough, then we can survive this. If we let them spread the alarm, we'll be trapped down here and we'll have no way out. If you can do something about the little ones quietly, be my guest. But I am not quiet, and I will set off the alarms.
Is he
Yeah.
bothering you, Lana? Is your stalker bothering you?
Uh, no, more just I'm just weirded out.
Yeah.
I just feel like we've been spied upon, and he just revealed it, and I didn't consent to it.
That's fair.
I thought we were just gonna get what we need and get out. Not start a fight.
Without violence.
Oh, we may not start the fight, but we're gonna finish it.
We must.
So, like, there's multiple ways of approaching this. Some, like, the characters know that Don has the ability to wall off the entrances to this place. He's got that spell, so he could wall off if we go in there and decide to either reason or fight or whatever. If we go into the room of the many-headed snake creature, he can seal off all of those passages into here so that the other creatures can't make their way in. So we would effectively be alone. So that's totally possible, and I would just narrate, even though the spell's quite specific. I would say, and I'm saying to you now, that because I'm narrating it, Don absolutely has that ability as long as that spell slot is up.
I have an idea, everyone. Let's slither up to the guy, and then we'll tell him that we're here for the mandatory weapon polishing, and that we'll take it to the polishing room for him, and take care of that, and then we'll punch him in the face.
Right.
Is
Cool. Is everyone on board with this?
Just an eyebrow at you, like you're really big. Oh wait, we don't have eyebrows right now.
An eye ridge.
Yeah. Kind of looks at you skeptically, like that sounds pretty risky.
I know, isn't it exciting?
Is somebody ready to sweet talk him out of this thing? If
I think your idea of excitement and
Don's willing to volunteer, although all of you know he doesn't really have much skill and such. He's just not optimistic. He's a enthusiastic volunteer, is all.
Nice.
Not a skilled one.
Dawn, we should decide who's doing the talking so we can give them our blessings.
I will absolutely talk to this thing if you'd like me to, but apparently hitting it with blunt objects is the idea.
It's how I talk. It's how
I got
men
us
fight.
disguises so that we
Not a man.
wouldn't have to fight. We're gonna be really outnumbered.
Yes. Like
My source,
Well, like,
suggested that
fight
we
them
avoid
all
fight.
at the same time.
so, Don. You
I'm
could-
sorry, Lana, I didn't catch that.
Only if we fight them all at the same time.
Yes, it would be a bloodbath. and
True.
everything else. So, the idea could be is that we could make it so we're isolated with this creature. You could do that, couldn't you? Don?
Yeah, Don can absolutely isolate us, yeah.
And once we do that, if we have to fight one creature by ourselves, it's going to be much easier than fighting the entire sewer system at once.
Yeah. And you know that the other levels of the sewer are being dealt with by either the gangs, the other gangs, the rival gangs, or the city guards.
But using words before brawn, I really think is going to be the way to go.
All of these
And
drawings.
Silas begins to walk towards the room. Why is there so much drawing in here?
I think someone's devising a plan of some description here. Looks like uh, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on,
Whatever.
guys. That's strategy, one at a time.
Yeah. You could. That's more fighting. And I know that many of you, as characters, don't really see yourselves as fighters per se. You've fought before, but you're not like, yeah, that's not.
So my suggestion is, I know I'm the guy that wasn't here all the time, but if we were to, as a group of five, go in there and reason with this creature, it is the leader of all this. It's not going to want all of its. It wouldn't want everything to die, and we could probably stop that from happening if he just gives us the weapon. Right? That's why we're here. We're not here to eradicate an entire species from here.
Right.
Well, Bastian came down here for two reasons. One, because yes, he wants to clean the sewers of these things, because he thinks that's better for the city. Um, and two, because of the drow attack, and we kind of figured out that probably these UNT were after something when they launched that attack, and probably they got what they wanted, and they've probably brought it down here. Um, and now it's been confirmed, at least to Lana, and I think I said so anyway last time when you made a perception check into the room, that that creature is definitely holding what is definitely the glaive of darkest depths. So that is another reason to be down here. So I think Bastian has multiple motives while he's here, but I don't know whether everyone's on board with those motives. And maybe we can convince these UNT to move on from here, and maybe that would accomplish Bastian's motive of getting rid of them from Stormreach. But yeah, it's kind of up to you guys to figure out how you want to go about it. Whether you want to use your weapons or whether you want to use your words.
We could picking them off is probably what's going to be the best, but we can certainly try to use our words to see if they'll just, hand over the glaive of darkness, and like we could say if there's a lich that's going to come down after them otherwise, and see if they believe that, if they even know what a lich is. But
Or Lana,
yeah,
there's this new thing that I'm trying out called the truth.
Ooh.
And we could just tell them that there's great danger coming down here on all the other levels. They must know of it. And if we get the glaive, we will certainly be able to stop all of that from happening. And if they were to move on, that would continue to stop happening.
true.
I don't understand why you are changing your minds. We came down here for the reason to eliminate these creatures. They're clearly a bane on society. They eliminated the drow, showing no mercy. They profaned my holy symbol and severed my connection to the gods. And I'm sure they would have no qualms with eating and killing the children of the city.
I don't think they'd have any qualms doing the same to us.
Hmm.
That's
And
your
there's
Bastion, but
three very large creatures in here that we will not be able to beat.
But if we can lower it down to just one,
which you
if we
can.
can beat just the leader,
You're,
then we can make a difference. We can turn this entire fight into a victory, whereas if we let them go, they can rally their troops and counterpush against the guards and the thugs who I've brought down here and kill them. We're walking on a nice edge here. There's no room for petty morals. There's no room for pleasantries such as the truth.
ooh,
But the
Ooh.
problem is that I serve a being that is for the greater good for everything, not just your enemies, not just yourself, everything, Bastion.
yeah, must be a hard balance.
The librarian and the wizards said if we had to fight, take out the leader.
Right.
They definitely did not think we could handle more than that. So my only concern is that we get out of here safely with that glaive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason we're here.
Taking on a whole fight doesn't sound like a good idea.
Like,
You didn't even know that glaive was here until a minute ago when
yeah,
you saw
exactly.
it.
Right.
Now that we do, that has to be our primary objective.
Which is our primary.
So,
So, Silas, what will it be? Will you serve the greater good, or will you serve the good of your allies?
I will
ooh,
serve the greater good beyond. You're just a temporary inconvenience for me right now.
Then I'll have to say that you are the same. Should you fall in battle, I will let your spirit rest.
It's all right. The White Phoenix will save me.
oh,
And with that, he turns and walks into the room.
okay.
But looking to Don first and says, I think we should eliminate anything else coming in here. Wall every entrance off.
Okay. You're walking into the
Can
room.
we try to? I'd like to try my idea first, at least.
What was your idea, Don?
Let's take this weapon in for polishing.
Okay.
I think it's worth a try.
So, either way, there's going to be people coming into the room of this creature that you can see is the name of it that you can see is anathema. So this anathema, you're coming into the room whether it is for trying to destroy it, like with the opinion of destroying it, or whether it is with the opinion of polishing its weapon. no, no double entendre intended. Or whether it is, telling it the truth that there's things like enemies coming from higher up or whatever else. You're still coming into its room, and as you do, you are still in your UNT forms, okay? And Felice, are you hanging back on purpose?
No.
So I'll bring you here then. And yeah. So as you come in, guys, the anathema will obviously see you in your UNT forms, and will speak before you have a chance to do so. And it will say, "So, you are the ones that she has sent."
Yes.
Yes, we are.
He says, "Betrayers of our kind. I only let it be that she has given us her word. She has told us of her plans, and we have agreed. She must know. You must tell her. that we do so with one condition. If she betrays us, she will be the one who pays the price.
Betrayers. Oh, I thought you meant the other she.
He says, if you indeed work for her, you have betrayed us already.
Corey has no idea who her is. So,
So
All
for
right.
the players, is probably referring to the dream snake that we talked to previously that put us on the quest to begin with.
How about...
Like easy. Seems like a reasonable assumption.
Alright, well, how about we roll an insight check?
Pretty sure Lana remembers and knows exactly who he's talking about.
Or maybe it means the lich. I guess there's that
yes,
too.
and Silas has.
Nope,
I'm-
not even.
Wow, Bastian absolutely knows.
That's a 19 regardless
Okay,
because of things.
alright.
And 16 for Lana.
Cool. So between you, you've managed. Silas, I'll get you to just mute yourself for a second for me, please. Thank you. I don't know why you're the only one that that has the echo, but you are. So what do we got here? Oh yeah, it's all your wall of text. So yeah, enough of you have passed that you're able to figure out amongst you that the anathema is talking about Lady Vol, and it clarifies that and says, our part of the deal is to deliver the glaive. You came to pick it up, and we have decided to give it to you to deliver to her.
And yes, I would suggest that you move along after the delivery has been accepted.
What we do is none of your concern, betrayer.
Everything is my concern, sir. Everything. Because it's for your own good. And he'll walk towards the creature and go to accept the glaive.
And pass it on. Say, the blood sacrifices will be made soon. The prophecies will come true. He who was prophesied shall come, and then the reckoning shall be at hand. We will see who is in danger then, betrayer.
Well, we'll be on our way now.
Very well.
We will have safe passage on the way out, correct?
Yes.
It's a pleasure doing business with you here today, sir. I hope lovely things for your plan. And Silas will start to walk out of the room with the glaive.
Sir, lovely
Rather
plan.
quickly.
What are these words that come out of this one's mouth? He's speaking now to the group.
You
Well, time to get out of here. Bastion will double time it out of there.
You just booking it.
If
Yeah, you
Bastion
promised a
leaves,
safe
I'll
passage.
follow.
Cool. It
And
won't
Silas
Lana
pursue
will-
you.
probably would have given like an awkward bow before very much. I'm gonna walk with, or I'm gonna slither with Silas.
Yeah, and we still have our pack or whatever that's visible, right?
You still have your pack.
Yeah, or whatever. You know what I mean? We carry. I
It
will just
looks
kind of put the glaive.
differently, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. I will just put my the glaive like kind of through it, like wearing it across my body, and I will start to exit swiftly.
Okay. You're able to make it out of the sewers.
All right, can we willingly drop the disguise?
You can willingly drop the disguise at any point. You tell me at what point you would like to willingly drop the disguise.
Not until
All
we're
right.
out of sight of any watching eyes.
I would say, yeah, I would say that Silas would wait until he's gotten to an area where the other gangs are starting to fight, and then I would drop form there, and then just blend in with the fight as we're leaving.
Right,
Those
so
soldiers are eventually going to make their way to this level. Are we going to leave them to be slaughtered by these monstrosities?
I suggested that they leave post haste, and he was too obstinate to do that.
Yeah, most most horrors won't leave when Astley nice. This is true, which is why I'm saying Bastion's plan of slaughter is probably the more likely to prevent the city folk from being slaughtered.
I don't want the blood on my hands, Don. I don't want that blood on my hands.
All right, I'm asking the rest of the group now.
I will stay and I will fight.
Lana is also kind of the. Can we just leave it to someone else? We could like tell those town guards and be like, hey, by the way, we kind of like cleared you a nice path to get to the big baddies. If you want to take care of them real quick, then you guys should do it. Do we always have to be the hero?
No, we're the courier.
Let me consult my ghost. Hey, can we finish doing these things? Because we got your glaive. Do you think you can help us kill these things? Because we got your glaive.
he says, I see no reason to stay and fight. They've already said that the blood sacrifice is going to happen. I assume that that's fairly soon, so they're not going to be in this world for much longer.
Yeah.
So probably, escape with your lives to see another day and have your plan come to fruition. Otherwise, if you stay and fight, I am only in my ghost form. I will lend what hand I can.
As Lana went into deep meditation state all of a sudden, she'll go, yeah, so the thing's gonna already happen eventually, so whether they're alive or dead, and if we go down there's a chance that we can die, and we're not gonna be of use to anyone if we are dead, because we're kind of sort of the people actually dealing with the greater evil.
Lana, I care not for soldiers who have faltering hearts. If it is not your place to go down, I do not need to hear your excuses, only that you will not go.
Wow.
I don't want you to get busted. Or...
Well, must put your life on the line for what you believe in. You know this as well as I. I believe that those snakes should be purged. You believe your children need to be saved. Maybe our paths
As
part
do I.
here.
Yeah. You can split the party.
Lana looks really sad though because it's like
Maybe.
Bastion's been a great ally and whatnot, and but she also admires very much like, okay, I get your conviction. Ugh, Godspeed.
Yeah, with that
Yeah.
comment, Silas walks off and walks directly away from Bastion. If he wants to stay here for a fight, he can absolutely do that. And I will absolutely split the party.
So, yeah. So, would anyone stay with Bastion?
No.
Dawn will.
All
I'll
right.
support Bastion.
Now, Felice
I'm
is all for leaving.
excited by the
And-
notion of a Dawn and Bastion fight.
So, how do we want to achieve this? Like, obviously, obviously, there is a battle here that is written.
I know. I have an idea.
Yeah.
If Dawn and Bastion are serious, they're gonna head straight there. I feel like Lana just knows the odds of them coming out is very small, so she would like go and find people. Be like, my friends are in the sewers, and they need help. I am lacking any like brilliant words at the moment, but um, yeah, she would go to the guards and such and be like, they found them. You need to help them. They found the leaders of the gang. Go down there. We've already killed so much. We barely made it out. That we need more help. Trying to make it sound like do it.
Okay. So then, would you all be okay with not narrating the fight, but instead, like, as in rolling attacks and such, but instead me narrating how this goes down,
Yeah, absolutely.
just to save us
As
some
long as
time.
they win.
So, okay.
No preference.
So how this goes down then um, is obviously Bastion and Don will stay. Lana goes and finds more guards, and they will come and join the fight. The guards and the other gangs are merciless. They hack through these creatures like they're lambs to the slaughter, and um, they get to this room, and Don and Bastion are hurt by this stage. They've prevailed against the creature. They're still alive, albeit that they're hurt. And the guards and the gangs come in and they just chop it into little bits. Many of them die in the process, and as things are dying in this room, all of the blood that is shed is draining into this pool. And
Please don't summon a demon. Please don't summon a demon. Please don't summon a demon.
basically,
Say that, please.
blood of both gangs, the guards, the anathema, and the joined creatures who will come into the room as well. Like, it's a big, like, all-out brawl, and all of the blood pours down into that well. You succeed in your venture to purge the sewers of these creatures, but you realize at the end that the blood sacrifice has been made.
We're screwed. Does the earth begin to rumble?
No.
Huh, Bastion. I guess they were right after all.
Better this way than women and children.
For if there was going to be a blood sacrifice.
So I'll show you some of the features of this battle, being that you guys experienced it So here, during the battle, uh, all of the pillars that are in each of the on each of the sides, they come alive with snakes that knock people prone and keep them sort of wrapped up in their tails. Um, the creature also erects coral walls. Um, Not all of the four walls come up at once, but each of those four sections come up at different times in the battle. And as they do, they like spurt out with poison, further adding to the bloodshed. The creature attacks with acid and claws and poison, but eventually, through all of this, it will die, and 90% or so of the attackers also die. Don Don and Bastian, who stayed, you are severely hurt, but you're alive and breathing. It's going to take you a couple of days to recover. Going to give you like 4 levels of exhaustion. And but you've prevailed.
A hard-won victory. After it's over, Bastion will take the heads of the what was it called again? The giant snake,
The anathema.
the anathema, and he will carry them to the guard captain headquarters, and he'll deposit them down. It'll say the work is done.
Because they helped you.
Yeah, it absolutely would not have been done without some help from the party. Like 90% of the guards died. So.
Yeah, those heads would have been enormous, right?
Oh, they're big. Yeah, like that's the actual size of the creature. Like it's 20
Yeah.
feet by
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know what I mean? If they came back up and they needed help carrying things, I would do that. But, you know what I mean? I wasn't going to go down there and just mercilessly slaughter things. So,
No, that's fine.
um, so when
Oh, we hug
Silas
them.
yeah, you know, so when Silas gets out of the cave or sewer system or whatever,
yeah.
um, I think that really starts to affect him. I'd like to handle this now.
Okay, go ahead.
And when he comes out, he's still covered in purple scales. Doesn't look very much different than a Yonti, except for he looks human. And he gives the glaive to Felice, because she is the learned one out of all of us, and has ties to the library and the wizards in which she's already spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
And then he falls to his knees. And if you look at him at this point, there's heat waves coming off of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks very uncomfortable. And as this is happening, he starts to pray to the White Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I saw your symbol. And now it's within me. I think this will make another chapter in our belonging to each other. Please help me absorb the energy of which you come, that white hot energy that I couldn't separate myself from, so I took it into me. And I know I haven't had to use this on anybody yet, but please help me. And as it looks as if he's going to pass out, I need to know what it's called. Wait, this wasn't it. I cast Preserve Good on myself,
Okay.
and I hold up my holy symbols in the chest of my armor, and I grab onto it, and a bunch of holy energy travels into his body through his armor. And what happens?
You take 77 points of damage,
Which will drop him completely.
and anyone that's there will just see Silas fall to the ground, and a pure white flame will erupt and basically consume all of the scales that he had, and it will burn so hot that you can't even look at it. And then when the fire comes down, Silas is in his natural form, and he is unconscious but
I'm at
stable.
Yeah. So I'm unconscious, but I'm not dead.
Correct.
Lana totally, Lana totally screamed when he burst into flames, like, "Holy shit!" And then it's the, "I don't want to burn myself." And then when he's on the floor, she will attend to him and ask, like, "Help me get him to bed. Like, what the hell? What was that? Silas, help me." To the others.
And he's quite cool to steal the great
Yeah,
lines from
if
a
you wait
real
for the
wizard.
flame to
Oh.
die down, if you wait for the flame to die down, you can touch him. If you try to touch him while the flame is going, you're going to take 77 points of fire damage.
Yes, that's why Lana was hesitant. Like, she wanted to help, but I ain't touching him while he's on fire. Like, that just sounds stupid. Probably would have looked around for like a blanket or something to smother the flames out. And I pictured that when he does collapse on the floor, that the fire's gone.
Right, so yeah, he collapses on the floor, the fire erupts, you can throw a blanket on him, it just gets absolutely consumed. The fire is too hot to look at and too hot to stand near, and then all of a sudden the fire is gone, and you look at him and you're like, can I touch him? And then you approach him and there's absolutely no heat, and you reach your hand out and touch him, and he is normal temperature.
And his hair at this
Alright.
point is stark white,
Right.
as if as if like an old person. You know what I mean? There's no pigment in his hair any way, shape, or form at this point. Whereas before it was a little bit blonde. Still.
Okay, I'm gonna also do something else here for you, Silas. Because I just thought of this. So let me just find.
Oh no, we're under attack. There's an enemy spellcaster.
We
They've
don't
already
know
killed
that
Silas.
for fact, Dawn. So Lana's trying to get Silas to a more comfortable spot than the floor.
Okay, I'm just looking this up here. Okay, so I've got this now. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Silas, you age 30 years.
I have no issues with that.
So what does that look like to us?
Well, so his face, so his hair has whitened. He's completely white hair now, and his skin like withers or ages. So wrinkles appear, that sort of thing. Like it's the Indiana Jones, the guy that drinks from the wrong cup, but he instead of turning into dust, he just ages a little bit.
Yeah, I go from a man that looks like he's about 20, less than 25, to a man that looks like he's about
50.
55.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is your wife gonna say?
Really? Who the heck are you, and what'd you do with my husband?
I'm a silver fox now.
Oh yeah. So anyway, that happens. You're absolutely safe. You can come back. There's no penalty other than like I would do the same thing for you, Silas, as I did for the other guys that fought. I would give you 4 levels of exhaustion that you would have to sleep off, and pretty much all three of you would have to do that. Um,
I'm absolutely fine with that. Thank you.
for Lana, did you? I mean, Felice has recommended that you, or at least it sounded like to me, that you keep on talking to this ghost. Is that right, Felice? Am I picking that up correctly?
Yeah, she felt that it was worth letting it help if it meant we could get the glaive.
Right. And so, Lana, with that recommendation, what are you going to do? And knowing that these guys have 4 days of rest, you can obviously talk to them and figure something out. What are your thoughts, though? And let's sort of get together and create a plan of action as to what's going to happen next.
I feel like he would have addressed the uh the guy, being like, okay, we got it. So we need it for our, as you note, and you want it back, which I imagine once it's used for the greater good, that there would be no problems with you having it back. And
He's,
you said you want to assist us with this, so that's great too.
he says,
Because,
if I give it to you and you use it in the way that I've heard you speaking about, it will be gone. Uh, I don't have an issue with that because I created it for a reason. And that reason is to rid the world of the Corey. And if you facilitate the absolute closing and destruction of that portal, you will effectively prevent the Corey from returning to Corvair, which is my goal. Like, I was part of the banishing process for a reason. I don't want them to return. So, for the greater good, this glaive and the rest of these weapons were created for this purpose. So, in the end, that's the best thing that could happen. Yes, I would love it back, but having heard what you're doing, that's much more important. And yes, I can help you. I can help you secure the rest of the Destiny arms, but
oh,
I do have a condition.
okay. What is this condition?
He says, there is something. It's very difficult for me to communicate this because I don't understand it, he says. There is something connected to you that feels like a spirit guide. My spirit is trapped here. I cannot I cannot be at peace. I cannot be set free until I see a spirit guide, until my spirit is guided to my ancestors. And something about you, something about maybe someone connected to you.
And Lana would have gone to just kind of deep thought as her mind's racking. She's like, "Yeah, huh, this is certainly unusual. The only thing that comes to mind, I remember once, I think, uh, I saw my mother in a graveyard once, but that's all I could think of for like, I don't really get why there's this connection.
He says it's not you. It's something or someone connected to you has this power. He says if you would allow me to
Well,
commune with you, I can find them in the spirit realm. We would need to commune with each other.
Right. And Lana's well, I because I feel like with what I think Lana knows. Okay. she's like, oh, I'm also gonna run with Fayella, maybe just because she's a healer. Like, certainly that means she has some kind of spiritual connection.
Right.
She's like, I have a few people in mind. But they are vastly far away. Like, I don't even. It
Would you agree
she's
to would you agree to commune with me? What that would necessitate is that we go into a deep state of meditation, and that I touch your spirit and you touch mine, and that I would then be able to see your thoughts and discern who this figure is, and be able to commune with them inside of the spirit world.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I can do that since we've got 4 days of downtime.
Right. So he will. Um, he will, like,
You
you will
want to put a
feel
peanut stir sign on the door?
you will feel his spirit in the room. It's like a breeze that comes past you, and and you will sit down and you will feel a touch against your hands when you close your eyes. You don't feel it before you close your eyes, but when you close your eyes to start meditating, you feel hands touching your hands, and then
If your eyes out of surprise for a moment, what happens?
nothing.
Okay, and they'll go back shut again. It's just kind of like, wait, what? Oh, right.
And then your your gaze then turns internally, and he guides your thoughts and your emotions. And every moment of your history with Rin flashes before your eyes. And he says, "This is the one that can guide me to rest." And Ren's face remains in your vision. And like he puts the pieces together. Like you've known Ren for a long time, and
Uh-huh.
all of these things in the past, some of them didn't make sense. How he could create such wonderful food like out of thin air, and when he talked about your mother, how did he know who she was?
Yeah.
How did he know what she looked like? How did he know who was connected with her? There were so many questions, and as the memories are pouring through, all of it suddenly makes sense. Rin speaks with the spirits, and he is a spirit guide. He is a shaman. And even though it's like sort of confusing, it just suddenly that piece of Ren that you never fully understood, now you fully understand.
Like, he's always just this cute, quirky guy, and he has a.
Or in Silas's words, the little fucker.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
He stole his girl back in the day.
So
Um,
yeah, and he reaches out. Isdelth reaches out and touches Ren's spirit, and Ren joins in the meditation.
all snaps.
And he sort of and you open your eyes internally and see his face, and Rin's like, Lana?
Lana's is like, no, is like there any way that she like can move or anything? Because that would be her first reaction. It's just like,
No, you're
what?
too deep in meditation right now to physically move. You,
Bugger. Well, mentally, she's like, Rin! Like,
right. And your spirits, though, like, your spirits can run to each other and embrace each other, right? Like, this is...
Excellent. That's what Spirit's doing.
And Rin's like, Lana, what you doing here? Is
Well,
Lana
but-
dead?
and he- no. And she would look and be like, "Did you kill me?"
And then, like, Rin sees the figure and he goes, oh, Lana not dead.
Okay.
But you dead? Who you?
This is
And, you know, the figure says, I am Isdelf. And he's like, I am Rin. Isdelf, like, is like, maybe this isn't the one. And Rin's like, what you mean? And he's like, are you a spirit guide? And Rin's like, he looks over to you, like Rin's spirit looks over at you and says, Lana not know, but Rin see and hear spirit. And the giant Isdell, he like groans. It's like, okay, I'm trapped on this mortal plane. Oh, Rin can help with that. He says, right. Good? When you want Rin to help? And the spirit says, when all of us are gathered. And Rin says, okay, you let Rin know. I'll be waiting. And the spirit says, you know that there's a war coming. And Rin's like, Rin don't know war. And the spirit says, when the 4 artifacts are brought together, a war for the portal will erupt. The more allies your friends have, the more of a chance they will prevail. I recommend you make your way to Stormreach with all of the allies you can muster.
Whoa. No, I mean, Rin, you are very resourceful. You have great connections and whatnot, but you are with the kids right now, and that's the important thing. How are the kids, by the way? You stay there, keep the kids safe. We surely are able to find enough people. Like, we are on the North Continent. We can outsource through the rest of it. Stormreach isn't the only place. We saw the other giants and such, and so.
Rin's like, Rin hears, Rin understand, Rin sort something out. And he severs his connection. Well, but you hear like an echo of Rin's voice just before he snaps out. And he says, Rin love Lana! And his voice like echoes into the nether.
And she has this, like, her spirit's kind of doing this, like, reach out, like, you son of a, why'd you? Whatever. And she'll just become demure again and whatnot, and whenever she's done meditating, she'll still hang out in the bedroom for quite some time, just because she's going to need to collect herself.
Right. Yeah, and the spirit will disconnect as well. You will come to, you'll be able to rest and stuff, and you feel fatigued as well. It's more mental fatigue, but it's the same sort of exhaustion. You need a couple of days to bake it off.
Well, friends, hello. Wait till I tell you. There's gonna be a war. Yay!
Okay,
Julio, thank you for that.
cool. Yeah, so the spirit sort of, when you're ready, will talk to you again, and this time he'll talk to the group. He'll sort of say to you, can you bring everyone together? And then he will speak to all of you, and it will be out aloud, but it will be like ghostly, disembodied voice, and he will tell you, any questions you have, and anything like that. He will give you whatever information you guys need. He tells you that he can help you secure the rest of the Destiny Arms. He knows where they are, and he knows that he can help secure them for you. And he is willing to take you, as long as as long as Rin will guide their spirits home. He says, "I am not the only one that is left trapped. The other spirits, the other giants that forge these weapons, their spirits are still trapped here. And if he guides us home, if he guides us to rest, then that is the best that we can hope for. And there will be yet another reward if you unite all of our spirits as we are requesting. I will show you the way." I will show you the way to a forge of great power, the Locust Forge, where these items were created. And we will forge for you items of great power. You will need items, mundane items that you will bring with you, and we will imbue them with magic. Ancient giant magic. Effectively, he is offering to transform a mundane item of your choice each into a magical item of the same type. Yes, we all.
Lana's then kind of quiet, like, holy what? I am super excited. I can't wait to start thinking, what do I want for her?
Yes. In case you've forgotten, we did level to 12 between last week and last time and this time. You are now fully level 12. So, yeah. Hopefully you've done that, and if not, well, we can do it between now and next time. But yes, you've definitely leveled. It did, but it doesn't in 5th edition. However, like, you can roleplay it that way. I don't mind. It's up to Silas, who's been the one that's become magically aged.
We should give him the bracers of haste.
Maddening haste. I'm sure he would love that. So does anyone have any questions for Isdelth or Isdel's spirit? Or anything else that you want to talk to him about, or anything else that you want to talk to me about before we journey to retrieve the other 3 artifacts?
Yeah, what will happen in this war? And is it a winnable war that we can win?
He said he says a number of things could happen. There are many paths. I cannot know for sure. However, what I do know is that the forces of Lady Vol and the forces of good will engage with each other and will fight each other. If the artifacts remain in the hands of the pure of heart, I foresee that it's winnable. If the artifacts exchange hands into the hands of evil, I foresee the opening of the gateway and a rebirth and a birth of a god into our realm, which would effectively destroy the world. Maybe you could defeat him too, but he is a god.
Well, there's a few of us that serve gods, so hopefully our gods will help as well.
I cannot tell if they will or will not, but that is what I see. Those are the possibilities. There may be others, he says, but in relation to the artifacts, if they're in your hands, it is winnable. It will be a harrowing battle. The forces of good and evil will clash. People will die. But I believe that good, while the artifacts are in the hands of the good, they will prevail. If they change hands. Everything that we worked for, everything that we have done will be in vain. Even the prophecies do not say which way it will go. Bastian's messaging and he's like, "Hey, dwarf gods, are you gonna help me? Come and help me."
Please limit it to a yes or no response.
Need answers soon, please. Yeah, so,
So there's one thing I would like to do.
yeah.
I would like to pray for divine intervention to disrupt the blood sacrifice that was made.
They say that we would love to, but it's too late.
Ah!
Sorry.
And apparently our metal friend turned into a Wookiee.
It's like, dang it, I should have focused on that instead of the battle. Oh well, I guess we won.
You did, yes. The voices say to you, like the gods, they say to you, you shouldn't be disappointed in yourself. The prophecies spoke of a blood sacrifice. It was inevitable in this generation or the next. It was going to happen eventually.
And Bastion will take a little bit of comfort with that. It's alright. You were doomed to mess up.
Yeah, take that from the message. Absolutely.
Another thing I'd like Bastion to do is to get some of that sweet, sweet, holy dwarven ale from the temples.
Oh yeah, you can
It's like
absolutely
holy
do
water, but like way more potent.
that. Yeah, for sure. You can have that.
He'll drink it down, he'll just breathe in deep and exhale and go, refreshing. As it hits the spot.
Absolutely. And the more you drink, the more clear your communication with them becomes as well.
I think you just created an alcoholic, sir.
If that was possible as a Warforged.
I'm not an alcoholic. I can stop whatever I want.
But I
That's what
don't
the
want
voices
to.
tell me.
Yes. Cool. So are there
Also
any other
feeling
things? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to keep doing things last minute.
It's alright.
Also feeling that horn of drinking with the holy L.
Cool. Done.
And he will continue to drink from that. That will now be a prop in future encounters.
Excellent. Alright. Well, I guess I'll continue to pass it around the table and just ask individuals. And if anyone thinks of anything in the meantime and they want to butt in, that's okay. So I guess, Don, is there anything you want to ask or anything you want to do while this meeting is happening or around this?
Nothing in particular comes to mind.
Okay. Silas, what about you?
No, he got the information that he needed. He's been out and about and found that he has some new things that he can do. One of which is very powerful, and that he is very excited to try if we need to.
Cool. Um, Lana, anything else from you?
From Isdell? No. Just my thoughts is that with the remaining days of downtime, that Lana would try and do some meditating
Mm-hmm.
in the hopes that can I get that connection again? But I believe she won't, and she's good to go, and everyone else is.
Yeah, by yourself, that's not possible.
She was hopeful.
Yeah. Felice, I know that Chris has nothing, as in Felice's player, but maybe Felice has something. So tell me this. So this is a giant. You know, your field of specialty is elves, or fae specifically. So giants aren't really your thing. However, this guy created the most legendary of artifact weapons, or at least one of them. Like,
I'm,
and
I imagine
I mean, he's
Picker his brain for like details about it, but
he's also spoken a pretty clearly about what is likely to happen over the next little while. This probably disturbs you. I imagine he seems to have a very clear idea of like future events, or at least what they might have in them. Does this upset you? As in, upset Felice, or like make her, I don't know, question anything, or.
yeah, I mean, So I missed a lot of that because I had to step away, but um, yeah, I imagine she'd be pretty upset and kind of shaken. Um,
I mean, there's a few things that he said. So, just to summarize real quick, and we'll move on from here, but just to summarize real quick, he said there's a war coming, a war between Lady Vol and her people and the people of good, and that war will effectively see one or other of two things: either good prevails and the artifacts remain in the hands of good, and Lady Vol is either defeated or her schemes are undone, or that Lady Vol or someone of her retinue gets a hold of the artifacts and opens the portal, opens the gateway to Delcor and births
good.
a god, Corey and Yonti god into reality. Effectively meaning
Right.
the destruction of all of Corvair and Eberron. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
So I
little
mean,
heavy.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, yeah, she definitely shook up. Um, I imagine, like, if anything, her question, maybe she would ask, like, if there's anything else that can give us the upper hand. I mean, we know we have to have these weapons, but is there
He's,
anything else that
he
might give
says,
us the edge?
when I imbue an item of your choice with the power that the last of my power, that is the most upper hand I can offer you and the most upper hand I can foresee. Choose your item well, he says.
At that, I mean, Felice would look around at the group because she wouldn't want necessarily to make that decision for the whole group.
Right, but everyone in the group gets to choose one mundane item to have
One item.
enchanted.
Holy cow.
But we're not at the forge yet, and he's not
Okay.
willing to show us
Okay.
there until all of the spirits of the giants are united. And that
I'll
requires
give
us
it
finding the last three of the artifacts.
give it much thought. We shall see.
Cool. So, Silas and everyone else can have a long rest. So, all of your spell slots are back, all of your health is back. You can continue to talk with each other over the 4 days that it takes to rest and recuperate. You can, catch up on any reading that you wanted to do around town. If there was anyone else you wanted to contact around town and let them know what you're doing. And the and Isdel's spirit would say the best way to get where we're going would be by airship. To go via land will take us many months. If we go by air, it will halve or be half or less that time.
Where is this next weapon we have to find?
He says it's up to you which order we find them in. I can tell you the locations of each of the weapons, and then you can decide which one we go to first. He says the locations are the mountain glacier, the desert canyons, and the volcanic fields.
Ooh, I like the sound of that last one.
And let me guess, they're very far from each other, aren't they?
Yes.
Yep, I sound like a fan of this the airship.
Yes. We're both fans of airships, Devlana.
Agreed.
I think she said
Oh,
glacier,
I just
not
chuckled a little
airship.
bit.
That Silas winks at her.
So he says the mountain glacier contains the mole of glacial heights. The desert canyons contains the spear of desert winds. And the volcanic fields contains the staff of magma falls.
But I think the decision is simple. Unless the Dawn favors the staff, I think the only weapon there that we can actually use is the maul.
But only with them combined can you know the location of the portal and effectively
But we have to get them all.
end the campaign.
So it doesn't matter if we can use them, because I don't think we can.
Well, we're gonna destroy them all anyway.
So, one thing, you now have the Glaive of Darkest Depths. So it is in your handouts. Should be the lowest on the list. And as I promised between last session and this session, we also have the handouts about Lady Vol and House Vol and the Blood of Vol all available there, and you can click on any of them and read that stuff, which I summarized last time, but there's more information in there. And the Glaive of Darkest Depths should be there for you to look at. So it's a +2 keen glaive, and you are gifted on attunement the use of the plane shift spell once a day. And if it strikes a Kori in an ethereal spirit form, they're basically they're forced back to its body on Delcor if you ever find one. Because at the moment, the Kori are sort of stuck in their spirit form until that portal is opened, in which case they would be able to come through properly. Okay? So all of that is there for you. Alright. Do we want to vote for where we're going next, or does someone want to make a decision?
Well, I actually
Okay,
agree
no.
with Bastion. I think that maybe we should go get them all, because it's a weapon that he'll probably be able to wield.
Okay.
I don't know if any of the others are really wieldable. Yes, I could wield the glaive, but that's not what he does.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah, I think that sounds like a great plan. Actually, is there one that's further away than all the others?
Oh, they're about as far as each other.
So it's not like we could go farthest out and work our way back.
No, not really. They're like if there was 4 points on the compass, they'd be at each of the 4 points. Yeah.
It's a square. Wonderful. Or a diamond, or whatever you want to say. So,
Right.
yeah.
Cool.
The old man isn't so interested in where we go next. His back hurts. But chuckle, chuckle.
So let me real quick.
The only exception I can see to that is, Dawn, you favor the club. Is the staff all that different?
I mean, I can't use my shield when I'm holding a staff, but I don't. It's not like I swing it like you do with your weapons. But no, I was thinking we should go to the volcanic fields first, because end of the world, that place is only going to get nastier.
Yep, me too. Plus,
Let's do it.
Points?
I think Felice is of the mind of let's get the ones done that we already have gear and clothing for. And go to the cold one last.
I'm just going to take us to the map here. So the X's are where we're going.
I packed cold weather clothes, didn't you?
So
Don, not all of us can turn into a bunny or whatever animal that handles cold stuff.
bunny.
Or if
So
you
we want to
can't
go to
bear
the
the cold.
mountain glacier first.
Alright, so now that we've seen the map, it is kind of a triangle. And
Yeah,
the one-
yeah. Yeah, I'll take us
The
quickly
one is
back there.
closest to us. Yeah. So the old growth ruins are closest to us.
So we've been to the old growth ruins, the purple triangle,
where-
the purple X's
Okay.
are where we'd be going. So we'd have to
Where
travel
we
by
can
sea
go.
to Caparian Island to get to the magma falls. We'd have to go into the desert of Manectaron to get to the desert, and the Blue Spine Peaks to get to the glacier.
And where's the forge?
He's only willing to show us the forge once we combine the spirits.
Okay. Well, that island is the closest to us.
Yes, it is.
Why don't we hit them in an arc from the island to the desert to the cold region?
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So it sounds like everybody knows where they want to go first. Let's put it up for that vote.
All right.
Volcano.
So Lana Volcano, Silas Volcano,
There's also the volcano's the island, right?
Felice Volcano. Okay, so it's volcano, I guess. Yeah, the volcano is on the island. Yeah. Cool.
Fantastic.
Onwards. So, we transition there. Just so that you guys are aware, because we've only got a couple of sessions, like four or five, what I've done is I've condensed these. So my initial writing of this campaign was going to have the full, like, there'd be basically full dungeons for each of these locations. However, we just don't have time for that. So, effectively, Isdelth is going to take us past all of the encounters just by his presence, which gets us what we need. But what I'm going to do is I'll take us to each location. You guys can see what there is to see, and we will describe each of the areas and do a little bit of role play in each of those areas. And that's why this is part one of finding the artifacts, and next time wherever we get up to is going to be part two, and that will lead us into the forge. Okay, so here is the mountain glacier. You will need to probably zoom out as I do. Alright, and let us no, we wanted to go to the volcano first. Volcano.
We said we wanted to go to the volcano, but Bastion bribed the airship.
Well, we said we'd go to the volcano, so let's go to the volcano. This is the volcano. Alright, so what we see here, high in the mountains, magma boils to the surface and toxic gases hang in the searing air. Fire giants and other creatures natives to such hostile environments once made their home here. Today, ancient ruins lie scattered across the field of magma on islands of solid rock, some connected by bridges, others isolated and crumbling. Creatures of fire and magma roost in this forgotten place, squatting in what was once a palace. This area is a manifest zone of the Sea of Fire, and pretty much the the floor is lava. The floor is lava. Okay.
Lana, I love this game.
Right. So I'll just I'll go through each of these areas in order here. All right. So you land. We obviously start off in area 1. So what you see are basalt obelisks, which are 40-foot tall square pillars of smooth black basalt that stand on either side of a decaying stone staircase leading out over a vast pool of lava. On the face of each pillar is an inscription in Ignan. Does anyone understand Ignan, which is the elemental language of fire?
Probably Dawn.
I might have a way. Let me check.
Definitely George.
Definitely George, and definitely Isdelth would be able to tell us, but I'm just wondering. I think someone also has comprehend languages, so we can probably just go ahead in that.
Don has comprehend languages through his circlet.
Yeah. So the pillar on the left reads Gate to Fernia, and the pillar on the right reads Tower of Sharataz.
Dawn, I don't understand what that says. Could you translate it for me?
Yeah, you got me.
Isdelth would be able to tell you.
Yeah, and Lana would totally speak up. Gate of Fernia, Tower of Sharataz.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd point to each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what's a Fernia?
What's a Fernia?
He says Fernia is the Sea of Fire. It is a parallel dimension / plane, completely, completely alive with living fire and lava.
Huh. It's a fiery place with living fire above. Lana would reply.
Fire
And
exclamation mark.
The Sheratas.
Oh, well, in that case, what's a Sharataz?
Yeah.
Stealth?
So Sharataz was a fire giant who once dwelt here. And obviously his tower is his tower. He is long gone from this place.
He used to live here.
Right. Everyone can hear Isdelth now.
Ah. Haha. Wallace is repeating, and everyone's like, yeah, we heard. Oh.
Just let her have her thing. Helps her feel useful.
Dawn doesn't care. Dawn's like, Lana's weird.
So the Tower of Sharataz is a legendary ancient tower of ivory, he says. Sharataz was loyal to the Dreaming Dark back in the day, which is not an especially good thing. And his tower stands in the middle of this magma field. And it is to that we go. He says, while Sharataz was an ally of the Dreaming Dark, he was deceived by them. They double-crossed him, and he learned his lesson, and his spirit now longs for release, just as I do. So we'll continue on. Okay.
Do that.
So, let's see. Sorry, it's going here. So there are crumbling walkways here. As you can see, there's like bits that have already plunged into the lava many decades ago. The stone walkways are 20 feet above the lava, and once bridged solid ground and the tower in the distance. Now their ancient surfaces are cracked and split by large gaps. Lingering magic woven into the stone protects creatures on the bridges from the extreme heat of the lava below, and some sections are so littered with rubble as to slow movement, and the entire surface is uneven, so it's sort of difficult terrain. You're able to make your way across. Over on number 3, you spot an observatory, which is a large pillar of stone that rises out of the lava. It shields from heat just like everything else, and it overlooks a lava fountain in area 4, which is up here to the northeast. The observatory is designed to funnel intense heat into specially prepared rubies. There are no rubies present at this stage, but you can see that the collection receptacle is there, and the depression is clearly gem-shaped, and obviously Isdelth will tell you what it was used for. Lava 4, as I said, is a lava fountain. Poisonous gas comes out of there. I wouldn't recommend going too close. Number 5 is... where are we? Where is it? Can't see. Yes, over here. The pillars of Fernia. 3 pillars of white-hot flame shoot up into the sky from a small island of volcanic rock. Each pillar is a one-way gate from Fernia, but they function only intermittently. So they're not always all on. There's a 30% chance per day that a creature from the plane of Fernia, makes its way through. So you'll see creatures of fire all around. None of them attack. Number 6, basalt flats. So that's up here. So again, there are many creatures up there that make their homes on the stable flats using hardened lava to form crude walls or defensible structures that are created up there. The landscape of this large plain of basalt changes frequently, with old structures constantly being torn down and rebuilt, and a sloping path leads down to the lava pool at the base of the ivory tower. So basically, even as you're watching, creatures are moving rock from place to place and forming and reforming structures and going in and out of them. Obviously, it's not like, they create something in the time that we're here, but they're creating something or tearing something down while we're here to show you what they're doing over the long period of time. 7, shattered walkways.
Are they paying much mind to us?
No. They are not. Not while we have Isdelth with us, at least. So yeah, they're just walkways, nothing terribly exciting. 8 is a small lava fall, flows down. 9 is the ivory tower. A bridge used to lead to the tower. It has long since crumbled. The structure itself is weathered but whole. A section of the bridge is still intact directly in front of the doors, whose dense black metal bears glyphs in Ignan that read Sharataz. The doors have remained closed for countless centuries, says Isdelth, and are sealed with a permanent arcane lock that he can dispel if no one else can. The interior of the tower, he says, is white ivory, decorated with rusted tapestries of fine metal links that form geometric patterns. He says it's been many ages since he was here. He ushers us each in by basically he touches us individually and then floats over to the doorway and touches the doorway, and our bodies transport over to the doorway so that we can go inside. He does that one at a time, so until all of us are over there. So real quick, 10 is a transport chamber with an ancient teleportation circle. 11 is a reception hall with tables and chairs full size of giants. And 12 is a gallery where the fire giant Sharataz once dwelled. And the gallery displays his finest work. There are many priceless art pieces here. Among them, 4 large rubies are rested onto a molded pillow. These rubies seem to match the size and shape of the receptacle in Area 3 in the observatory. And Isdelth describes that if you allowed the rubies to sit in their respective receptacles for a full day, that they would become charged with fiery energy and act as a sling stone that explodes into a fireball on impact, dealing 10d6 points of fire damage. So they're basically empowered fireballs if you agree to store them in their receptacles for a day. You would have 3 gems of 10d6 fireballs, effectively. The other way that you could use them, he says, would be to he can instead keep them himself, and when we come to the forge, he could, as well as giving you whatever, he could imbue a weapon or multiple weapons, up to 3, with the flaming property by using these gemstones. So
And wanna volunteer one of her daggers?
you can, but not right now. We would need to do so in the forge. So he says, whichever way, we still would need them to be imbued. So we need to wait a full day for them to be imbued. Obviously, we can float away from here and then come back and get them, whatever. But that's the case. Now, during this time, when they are imbued, upon waiting, just making sure that we want to wait for that. We all good to wait for that?
I have no reason not to.
Cool.
I'm good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So when they are fully imbued, a spirit appears before them, and Isdelth says, "Ah, my old friend, it has been many an age since I saw you. not quite in the flesh. And the spirit says, hello. Yes, it has been many of an age. I have been stuck here, as have you, I see, in spirit forms. And Isdell says, these adventurers come here for the mole, and they have promised to set us free. They know a spirit guide who can guide our spirits to rest.
Lana waves.
Sharataz looks dubiously at Isdelth and says, you sure about this? And Isdelth says,
She's not the guide. She's the guide's girlfriend.
Isdelth says, I am. And he says, very well. I will take you to the mall. If you allow him, he will do a similar thing to what Isdelth did. He will touch each of you and transport you into a hidden area where, which will be an inside cavern with flowing lava coming down the walls, and in the center of the room is a plinth with the mole resting on it.
Huh.
And I will
Bastion will
reveal
step
to you the mole. Sorry, not the mole. This is the staff, isn't it? The staff of Magma Falls. So all players, and now you should be able to see the staff of Magma Falls in your handouts. So it is, real quick, a +1 quarterstaff. It has 1 charge of Fireball, 1 charge of Wall of Fire, 2 charges of Transmute Rock to Mud, and 2 charges of Summon Monster 6, which are Fire or Earth creatures only. It has 50 charges currently.
That sounds up Dawn's alley.
Yep.
It is made of pure obsidian.
Wow. Thing's so cool.
Shiny.
Okay? And he will accompany us on our travels. Is there anything else that we would like to do while we are here?
Wait, Lana picked up another stalker?
I was just gonna say we have gained a second voice to our madness.
We are going to accrue another 2 spirits yet.
Yay!
That's awesome.
No spoilers or anything.
I mean, he did say this at the start.
No, it's all good. We're jesting.
Yep.
Alright, anything else that we want to do here? There's nothing else really to see in this area. You
Enjoy
have
the
the
ranch.
treasure that was available. So you have the 3 gemstones, and you can choose to either use them between now and whenever, or you can have them imbue a mundane weapon with the flaming property.
Yeah, Dawn will take the staff.
Cool. You have it.
Spicy! I feel even closer to you now.
Spicy's voice echoes through the elemental chaos. We'll be closer soon. As soon as you cast me again. Call me again. Alright. And then we wanted to go down to the desert, correct?
Get ourselves
Yes.
nice and hot before we have to go freeze our butts off.
Yep.
Right. So, bringing us over to the desert. And this is the Desert Canyons, people. And keep in mind, each of these areas was full of enemies. So we would have had to fight our way through all of this. But the spirits of the giants are calming the local populace enough to allow us to pass. Because we don't have enough time. Alright, so this is the Desert Canyons. We will cross over now to there. So we now have Charitaz with us as well. Okay. So, a vast waste pushes up against rising mountains, and a series of canyons is etched into the desert floor. Littered with ruins, scoured smooth by the desert winds, the canyons contain the ancient remnants of giant tombs, as well as unusual crystal formations protruding from the rock walls. Sun giants make their residence here, and other natives of the area use the canyons as an oasis, resting and restocking their supplies of water. Once inside the twisting canyons, explorers are less at risk from the blasting desert heat. However, you've narratively somehow figured out a way to avoid that anyway. In Area 1, we have twin pillars. 2 pillars of faceted black stone rise 70 feet above the desert floor. The base of these pillars are a series of drow glyphs, informing travelers what they can expect to find. The drow glyphs that Felice can decipher say water, forbidden place, and poison wind. Water, forbidden place, and poison wind. Going up to Area 2.
This sounds fun.
Yeah, it would be if we had time. A field of bleached hill giant bones spreads across Area 2, open to the scorching sun. Isdelth and his new friend, Charitaz, are both quite disturbed when they see this pile of bones. They say that they are They say that they are bones of hill giants, and that they've been killed recently, within the last couple of months recently. And the wind has scoured away any sign of what killed the giants. Okay, so in Area 3, Charitaz will point out this time that there is an ambush chamber that looks over Area 2, and for anyone that is not his size, it's very difficult to spot that. He floats up there, and there are drow waiting up there, and he basically inhabits them and disables them, so that we're able to proceed without getting alarmed upon.
There's a verb for you.
What's that? A verb?
That's a verb for you. Alarmed upon.
Yep. That's not in my script. He also says that there is a sand trap in Area 5, and it's probably best that we don't go in there. What else we got? Number 7 is a crystal cathedral whose walls are covered in massive black faceted crystals. Scouring wind has shattered a number of them, but they seem to be replenishing themselves. Even as you watch, the crystals are gathering themselves together. Eight is a campsite. The windstorm in Area 7 does not prevail here. Numerous fire pits have been dug into the floor. And at different times, you can see that both medium and large creatures would have camped here. And this further disturbs the two giants who know that this is a giant residence. And obviously, these medium creatures must have come in at a later time. And having seen the drow glyphs at the start of the place, you probably have some idea that it might be drow. And in fact, they say that it could be because, he's Sharataz's disabled son. Number 9 is an oasis, which is a large pool of clean water that dominates one side of the chamber. 4 stone pillars with faded glyphs stand beside the pool and reveal there used to be a trap here that guarded the pool with potent death magic, but the trap has long since faded and the symbols have long since faded. Number 10 is a tomb entrance with a grand staircase rising up to sandstone double doors that lead into a sacred tomb of a giant chief. I'll talk to you more about that in a moment. Stone bar does hold the doors closed, but they are easily opened by the giant spirits, who tell you to stand back as there will be falling debris when they pull open the doors. A pair of enormous heads like those of giants flank the doorway. Their mouths are open. The stylized heads are the source of the windstorms that plague this place, and they radiate moderate transmutation magic. Number 11 is a grand tomb whose stone pillars run the length of the room, leading up to a stone dais on which rests a large sarcophagus. Light filters into the chamber from thin slits high in the walls. Inside the sarcophagus, which the ghosts will open the sarcophagus, and the remains of a giant chieftain are buried here. Because it is the spirit of giants who are opening the tomb, they are not subject to the curse that sits upon the sarcophagus, and neither are you. And the spirit of Axatasamat appears before you. Axatasamat. Alright. He is also a giant spirit. They greet him. Both Sharataz and Isdelth greet Axatasamat, who is was once a sun giant. Tell him why we're here. Similar thing. And he leads us into a secret room through Area 12 into Area 13. Area 12 is a servant's tomb, and Area 13 is a hidden treasure vault, which contains the artifact. Is there anything else in the treasure vault? 1 second while I check on that. 1 second, where are we? Treasure vault. Yes, there will be, but I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so we have another ghost friend who will join us, and that is what the Desert Canyons held. And let me reveal now for you the next Destiny Arms, which is the Spear of Desert Winds. Show to everybody. And the Spear of Desert Winds is a spear, short spear it is, whose shaft of sandstone is inscribed with flowing lines. 3 iron bands run along its length, and it's capped with a razor-sharp obsidian head. So basically it's a +2 flaming sphere, short spear, and grants the ability to target foes with searing wind, like the Gust of Wind spell, which actually deals damage. This particular Gust of Wind spell, 6d6 fire damage.
Looks like a good one for you, Lana.
Yeah. What? Sure.
And I'll generate some treasure in a bit, but it's not especially important right now. Anything anyone wants to do here? I'm just like plowing through these so that we can get through the content.
No, it's totally fine. But I think that's about where we gotta stop.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
beautiful, man. I wish we could have played through them because they sound beautifully constructed. So it's
Yeah,
really
I
good.
mean, but like, it's like I'd rather like just describe what you guys would like saw and your characters are experiencing. At the start of next session, obviously we'll do the glacial thing, and then go to the forge from there. So that's that. Obviously, if there's any more RP that you guys want to do with these giants, feel free to pause me or slow me down if I'm going too fast. Thank you guys for playing. I know that this is heavy information sort of stuff as we're gathering these artifacts. But yeah, hopefully it's still been a fun session. And we've definitely learnt some stuff as to what's happening. So yeah, hopefully we're still having fun, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with the next session. Thanks to all of you who have been playing. I'm going to stop recording now, and anyone that wants to stay and chat can. Otherwise, thanks guys, and catch you in a couple of weeks.